I'm sharing today's recipe with you because I realized that it's keto friendly. Actually, we call this recipe our Thanksgiving green beans. And I do have to say that I didn't come up with this recipe. It was given to me some decades ago by a family member. But I guess it's mine now because I've added some changes to it over the years. And I hope you'll make it, and then the recipe will be yours as well. Welcome to A Great Cooker. I'm Sophronia. Let's go ahead and start with this delicious recipe. This recipe starts with one of my most favorite ingredients of all time, some bacon. This one's uncured. And one of my favorite appliances. This is the drawer to my air fryer. And we are going to fry some bacon. I did not preheat the drawer. I'm sure that can help, but the bacon will get crispy just fine, whether it's preheated or not. So I think I have about 6 pieces of bacon here. I made some bacon wrapped asparagus, and I used half of the bacon for that. But there's certainly enough for us to make our dish. So I have 6 pieces here, just trying to make them all fit without overlapping, hopefully. And then this is going in the air fryer at 400 degrees. Every air fryer is so different, but just keep an eye on this bacon. At about 5 minutes, I'll flip it in half at 400 degrees. I am going to show you this recipe 2 ways, or I'm going to show you one way, but I'm going to tell you the other way that I have made it in the past. For 20 years, I made this recipe with no changes whatsoever because I didn't want an uprising on Thanksgiving Day from my family because I altered one of our sacred recipes. But now that I make this for myself, just as a regular dish, I add a lot more seasoning, a lot more flavor, and a lot more spice. Although the original is really, really good as well. So I am cutting some rings of onion here, but in the original recipe, the one I made, all those Thanksgivings, there is no onion because there was a family member with an onion allergy. So I never ever made this with onion, and you can make it without it and it's still really good. But if you add it to your slow cooker, it will make a difference in your life. So we need this onion to start. And I believe that's all the chopping that we're going to do. I have already added, because I didn't realize I was recording, I added that onion that I chopped, that I cut up. And this is one 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. In my original recipe, if you want to make a non-spicy version of this, then go ahead and add a second can of tomato sauce. Or if you want to live a little dangerously, just do the 1 can of tomato sauce and 1 can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. And you hear the liquid on that? You want to drain the liquid off before you pour it in. And this is a 10-ounce can. And yes, oh my gosh, I can smell the peppers or the chilies. My goodness. And this is cut green beans. Let me see. This is 3 pounds. If you don't have a giant can like this, then you can just put a few of the regular cans of green beans in. It's a lot of liquid. I should have drained off about half the liquid. I'm going to drain the rest of this liquid off. So when you're using your green beans, drain off about half the liquid. So say you use 4 cans of the smaller cans of green beans, drain the liquid off of 2. Or if there's 1 can, drain off about half. And there's all our green beans. Now for spices, I'm keeping it pretty basic here. You want to salt to taste. I think green beans can benefit from a good amount of salt. And my family member said to make this dish peppery. So on the original recipe, if you're just using the 2 cans of tomato sauce, I say add a good amount of pepper to give it like a peppery taste. But because I added the green chilies, I'm not going to add as much pepper. I just want I want to mention you can use the fresh green beans in here if you have an aversion to canned green beans, but I'm telling you, they really work in here and the canned ones hold up just fine in the crock pot for long hours of time. But also you can use like the snap green beans, the fresh ones. And if you prepare this dish early in the morning, if it's for Thanksgiving, you could just leave this on low pretty much the whole day. And by the time you're serving dinner, your fresh green beans would be ready for sure. This bacon, this bacon's been in the air fryer for about 7 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it. And then I'm gonna let it cook. Once I flip it all, I'm gonna let it cook for another 5 to 7 minutes. This bacon cooked for about 12 minutes in the air fryer. As you can see, it is extremely crispy. And you don't have to make your bacon this crispy, but I just want to let you know that if you leave your bacon chewy and then you add it to this dish, or I should say if you have your bacon to where, it's a little bit chewy or it's not firm, then when it is in the slow cooker for all those hours, it will get chewy. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean it won't taste good. Now, I maybe could have cooked mine like maybe a minute less because some of this is some of this is straight up a little bit scorched. But I've made this dish so many times over the years, and this is not the first time that I overcooked the bacon a little bit. Trust me, when you add it in with everything else and let it cook, it's still going to taste really good. So I'm just cutting up these bacon pieces with my kitchen shears. Of course, you can just break it apart with your hands or you can cut it, whatever you want to do. Now, also, you could use a whole pack of bacon if you want a lot more bacon flavor. But especially if you're serving this if you're using this as a side dish and this is not your main dish, then I think half a pack is fine. So let's go ahead and add in the bacon. Now that the bacon's been added, we just want to give everything a pretty good stir. Mainly, we just want to get the bacon incorporated throughout. And then also mix the onion throughout as well. And then the last thing we're going to do is just kind of push the green beans down and make sure that they're in the liquid. They no longer make tops for my crock pot, and you can see it's seen better days. It's cracked. It's literally has a hole, and it's also cracked on the other side. So I just always add a little strip of foil over top of this. This is not part of the recipe. This is just me making an old crock pot, making do with an old crock pot. If you use the canned green beans, then everything in this pot is already cooked. I haven't turned it on yet. Of course, you don't want to touch a hot crock pot, but everything in here is already cooked. And so you can put this on low or high, and it just depends on how quickly you want this. Like I said, you really just need to heat it through and you just need your onion to soften. But I'm going to put it on high, and this would be good to go in just like 2 hours. And so we'll check back. Okay, we're going to give this a try. This is uh-oh. I just realized that that the camera is nowhere near my crock pot. But what we're about to do is try these green beans. I turned them off. I turned off the crock pot a little while ago, but they're still very hot. But I'm going to scoop these out. Ooh, goodness. And then I'll show you up close what we're working with. Without spilling this, I'm just trying to see. There you go. Look at that. Wow. Okay, we definitely have to give this a try. This looks really good. Okay, here we go. Doesn't that look good? Okay. I don't know if you can tell, but the bacon, remember it was looking extra crispy when I made it earlier. I don't know, it kind of reconstituted for all those hours that it was in the slow cooker. But and it's have the bacon and a green bean and some onion. Let's give this a try. Mm, wow, this is so flavorful. You know what it is? Oh my gosh, it's so good. I definitely taste the heat from the chilies. Wow. Let me try to get some onion again. Can you see that? I I feel like I could have added a little more salt, but I could just do that now, really. Even without the full amount of salt, this is delicious. Oh my gosh, that's so good. The green beans and the bacon, they always go so well together. But yeah, that pepper, the pepper and the tomato, they really add something to this dish. Like I said, you don't have to include it, but wow. I mean, it kicks the flavor up several notches. Okay, I'm just gonna have one more bite. Wow. Personally, I'm not a big fan of broth, but that I'm sure is very flavorful if you like that. Wow. It's a little it's a little hot. I could definitely use a little bit of water, but that is good. Wow. Give it a try. Please leave me a comment if you try it and let me know how it turned out for you. Also, if you use fresh green beans instead of the canned ones, I'd really like to know how that experience goes for you. As always, there's going to be another video that's going to pop up somewhere. Make sure to check that video out as well and subscribe if you found this video useful. I make lots of keto videos. Actually, they're mostly all keto nowadays. It's all easy cooking, things you can, a few ingredients that you can throw together very quickly and have a delicious meal without having to spend a lot of time and effort. So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.